On this edition of Have Grave Will Travel, Adam and I are in St. Louis, Missouri, searching for the graves of not one, but two Pro Football Hall of Famers, Larry Wilson and Jimmy Conzelman. On a recent trip to attend our very first XFL game, we also took the time to visit a couple of local cemeteries that are right next to each other on Florissant Avenue. Our first stop was the Bellefontaine Cemetery, where we hoped to find the final resting place of Larry Wilson, a defensive back with the St. Louis Cardinals for 13 seasons. I thought I knew where I was going, but boy was I wrong. The cemetery is so massive that I had to enlist the aid of a cemetery security officer. Fortunately, he knew the section I was looking for, and he led us right to it. Even when you're in the right section of the cemetery, it can sometimes take a while to locate the grave you're looking for. But in this case, Adam spotted it the minute we got out of the car. Larry Wilson was born on March 24, 1938, in Rigby, Idaho, and played college football at Utah. He was selected in the 7th round of the 1960 NFL Draft by the St. Louis Cardinals and played his entire career with the Cardinals from 1960 to 1972, wearing the number 8. In 1973, the year after he retired as a player, some friends wanted to put up a statue of Wilson in St. Louis. He did not want a statue and said, "I just didn't want to be a target for all those pigeons." Wilson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1978. After his playing career was over, Wilson went into coaching. He was the Cardinals' defensive backs coach and served as the team's interim head coach for 3 games in 1979, winning 2 and losing 1. Over the next 2 decades, Wilson moved up through the front office of the team. He became vice president and general manager of the Cardinals in 1988, the year the team moved from St. Louis to Arizona. No player has worn Wilson's jersey number 8 since he retired as a player in 1972, and his name was added to the Cardinals' Ring of Honor in 2006. Larry Wilson died on September 17, 2020 in Scottsdale, Arizona, at the age of 82. As you can see, on the back side of his marker is his number 8, which has been retired by the Cardinals, and it also has the year that he was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, 1978, and a Pro Football Hall of Fame logo on the back as well. On October 25, 2020, the team honored Wilson by wearing a number 8 patch on the front of their uniforms during a Sunday night football game against the Seattle Seahawks. So if you're ever in the St. Louis area and you want to come pay your respects to Mr. Wilson, he's buried in the Bellefontaine Cemetery on Florissant Street. And I'll tell you, this cemetery is so massive, you might want to ask for help finding it. He's in the O'Fallon section, but boy, it's really hard to find. Thank you, Mr. Wilson, for making the world of football a better place. After paying our respects to Larry Wilson, we headed next door to the Calvary Cemetery and Mausoleum to find the grave of Jimmy Conzelman. He played halfback and quarterback in the early days of the NFL for 5 different teams from 1920 to 1929. The Calvary Cemetery is beautiful, with lots of wide open spaces. It was very easy to find the right section, as they were all clearly marked. But Conzelman's marker is flush to the ground, so we had to split up and walk the section for some time before we located it. And of course, Adam found it before I did. I knew there was a reason I brought him along. So this is section 30 in the Calvary Cemetery on Florissant Avenue in St. Louis. And this is the final resting place of halfback Jimmy Conzelman, a Pro Football Hall of Famer. Jimmy Conzelman was born on March 6, 1898 in St. Louis, Missouri. He played college football at Washington University in St. Louis. After college, he served in the military and played on the Great Lakes Naval Team that won the 1919 Rose Bowl, shutting out the Mare Island Marines 17-0. 2 of his Great Lakes teammates were future Pro Football Hall of Famers George Halas and Patty Driscoll. In 1920, Halas recruited Conzelman to play on the Decatur Staleys team in the newly formed American Professional Football Association, which changed its name to the NFL in 1922. He played one season with the Staleys and then played on the Rock Island Independence team in 1921. While playing in his first season with the Independents, the owner of the team fired the head coach in the middle of a game, and Conzelman was the new head coach. In 1922, Conzelman played for both the Independents and the Milwaukee Badgers, and he continued to play for the Badgers in 1923 and 1924. In 1925, he was offered a chance to become an owner of an NFL team. In 1925 and 1926, he was the owner, head coach, and a player on the Detroit Panthers. Conzelman's last stop was as a player coach with the Providence Steamroller from 1927 to 1929. He led the team to an NFL championship in 1928. In 1940, he returned to the NFL as a head coach of the Chicago Cardinals. He coached the team for 6 seasons, from 1940 to 1942, and again from 1946 to 1948. He led the Cardinals to the 1947 NFL title. They defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 28-21. Conzelman was named NFL Coach of the Year in 1947. Jimmy Conzelman died on July 31, 1970, in St. Louis, Missouri.
Section 30 is a very big section, and you can use this monument here as a way to find it. It's a few rows behind that marker, just as you come up the hill, next to another grave that's marked with the last name of Napoli. You'll see that one before you'll see Mr. Conzelman, which is right here next to it. So if you're ever in St. Louis and you want to find the final resting place of Jimmy Conzelman, he's in Section 30. Thank you, Mr. Conzelman, for making the world of football a better place.
Join us again next time as we travel the country, searching for the final resting places of the famous and not so famous icons of the gridiron. You can also read articles on my other gridiron grave visits on our website, theworldoffootball.com, under My Articles. Until next time, we'll see you down the road.